I am going to walk you through chapter 1 of INCOSE ASEP book, which is Systems Engineering Handbook. So we will be looking through that. What are the key points that we need to understand before diving into the actual technicalities of the chapter? So let's look at that. So let's start with the questions here. What does the systems engineering book cover? And next we will look at why we need these principles, because at some point of time they talk about those principles, and it also introduces a couple of processes and how are those processes defined. We need to understand those. The basic structure is what we are looking for, and then we will have a key tip that this chapter provides the reader. So that's a takeaway for this chapter. Let's dive into without a further ado. Okay, so the topics of interest that we are looking at in this chapter is that systems engineering principles. These are designed mainly for students and professionals to do their job better way, or some principles they probably not aware of, to make them more knowledgeable enough for doing those activities better way, right? And then we have this ISO, ICE, IEEE. All these are very well known automotive standards. These are the principles, standards developed by people around the world, and they want us to adhere to certain principles or standards to make sure the life cycle management is as per the needs. And these principles are very well known and tested and proven, and they are more always evolving as well. So it talks about how this book has adopted from those principles and defined established standards for us, for systems engineers. And it also talks about, it has taken some information from the systems engineering book of knowledge, and this is another key book that this talks about. This material, the handbook is based off. So why we need these principles at the first place? So we need to follow systemic rules, and we also have to make sure all those man-made products are more useful and friendly and up to the standards. That's why these principles play a major role in those. And these are also guidelines to improve existing entities, as well as all coming up new organizations. They want to develop some processes and techniques. So these principles are building blocks for them. So in this chapter, it outlines that they are going to define each processes in terms of input, process, and output. And it outlines 4 main processes that has been adopted by ICE. One is a technical process and technical management process, agreement process, and organization project enabling process. So these are the key processes. It talks about these processes in the upcoming chapters, and we will be reviewing them even more in detail. But for now, the structure is actually based on this IPO diagrams, and IPO diagrams are nothing but this input, process, and output structure. So we have not only those. If you relate this to DFMEA, if you are actually working in some automotive companies, you might be already doing some fault analysis and DFMEA, where you actually have a similar kind of structure, but also have controls or enablers for that structure. So this is the similar adaptation from that. And this chapter talks about how they don't talk about all those enablers and control units. for those processes in each and every diagram, but they will be discussing more of it at the in the appendix. They have given the information or for the user to read more about it in the appendix E of their book. So in this the main focus is what we would like to take away from this is make sure that we are actually looking at those diagrams, understand those input output processes and output of the processes, and process actually not only works that way just by taking the input and giving an output, but also has control over or will be governed by those rules and regulations. That's where these controls and enablers come into picture, from the organization point of view, from the other laws and regulations point of view as well. So for the tips, let's look into the tips for this chapter, and I think this is the last one that I will be covering in today's video. So the tips that this chapter specifies or conveys to the readers is that we shouldn't just rely on those IPO diagrams. We need to make sure we understand the text actually written in the process overview, its purpose, its descriptions, its input output process activities, its process elaborations. So each and every process is divided into these subsections. We need to understand those, not just rely on the diagrams or remember those diagrams purely is not sufficient. So I hope you guys like my video. If you do, and if you think this has been helpful to you to encourage me and my channel, please subscribe and hit that notification button. Whenever I upload a new video, you'll be getting that notification, and like my video, share my video. I wish you good luck. Thank you so much for watching. If you are going to write the ASEP exam, I hope this material will be helpful for your preparation as well. Thank you. Stay tuned to my channel.